Well, hello again from the Grand Estate. Happy Wednesday. My name's Gary. This is the Restoring Main Street podcast. Words matter. We've had this discussion recently. I keep finding pieces of culture nowadays or redefining of words. So I wanted to share another one with you tonight. Equality. What does that mean? Well, unlike some of the previous Words Matter segments that I've done, equality right now is actually being completely replaced with another word. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. So. So, equality. What do we think of when you hear the word equality? Well, perhaps if you're old enough like I am, you still think back to Martin Luther King Jr. and his approach and his marches and his speeches and his public pleading the American people, the American government, to live up to its constitutional statements that all men were created equal, and that included the black race. That included all races. Well, right now, what you see when it comes to equality is the word is being replaced with something that they feel, or the powers that be feel, is something more apropos, I guess, for the times we live in. So what is that word? What word are they trying to use to replace equality? Well, it's equity. Equity. Everybody, let's make sure that everyone has an equitable outcome. Well, for those of us that understand life and how life functions, there's no such thing as an absolute equitable outcome for everyone. As I usually do, let me show you a couple of the definitions that I pulled from Webster's tonight to share with you. Equality. The quality or state of being equal. That makes sense. That's part of what MLK's big push was about for the black people. And we went through some turbulent times in the 60s trying to push America in that direction. And it has been a progression, obviously, from winning the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation and the things it took to reach at least that small step. I say small step only because it took many more years for the black community to see something that they would at least recognize as being equal. And there is still racism today. I don't think anyone is going to try to argue that. But the percentage of actual racism is, I want to say, minute compared to what it was years ago. And the struggle that you've seen here in the United States has proven that we have made strides in the right direction. But let me show you the other definition that I found. Equity: justice according to natural law or right. Specifically, freedom from bias or favoritism. Well, when you read that definition, that even sounds fair. What's wrong with equity? What's wrong with being free from bias or favoritism? Well, if we were just using both of those clinical definitions, I don't see a whole lot wrong with either one of them. But the definition of equity today, or how it's being pushed and manipulated and used to try to replace equality, is a totally different thing entirely. Equality suggests that everyone should be treated fairly, equally. And when we're talking about people's opportunities, that's equal opportunity to achieve, to be treated fairly. That's what equality means. That everyone has the right to be treated as an equal, that we all have the same rights, that your skin color or your religion or your sexual preference, none of that has anything to do with your right to equality, to being treated fairly. Equity, on the other hand, equity, when we're talking about achievement, is something that demands equal outcomes. That everyone, no matter how much effort they put into anything, how much struggle they've gone through, or whether they choose to not struggle at all, that if you're looking at life and trying to distribute equal outcomes to everyone, equity suggests that everyone is the same. And again, if we're being honest, we all know that's not true. You cannot engineer outcomes for everyone and ensure and keep freedom. In order to assure outcomes, there has to be a central control. There has to be government oversight on absolutely everything in your life. Everything. And what equity demands is that those of you that are overachievers because of your ability somehow need to be brought down to the same level as those who perhaps don't have the same skills, who are not perhaps capable of achieving some of the same things that you can. Because we all know everybody is born with a different skill set, a different ability, a different IQ, which, along with hard work, determines your outcome in life. So, in order to make us all equitable, those that are overachievers need to be brought down. And that's the word that they're trying to substitute today for equality. instead of everyone being treated fairly and having the same opportunity, they want to substitute the equality of outcomes, the certainty of outcomes. That is an absolute lie. You cannot achieve that goal. Without holding someone else back. It's amazing to me today that you look at great achievers in anything, business, sports, dare I say it, politics, any of those areas. And each one of those individuals will share with you a different story, what it took for them personally to get to where they are today. And those are the things that shape and make them. Those are the things that make them special. And it used to be that we would look up to those individuals in an aspirational way so that we in turn would push ourselves to be the best we could possibly be. Now there's a huge effort being put forward to destroy that, to get rid of that incentive, to swap equity for equality. And what do you do to your society by doing that? Well, I would suggest that you're killing innovation. If everybody's going to be treated the same no matter how hard they work, why would anyone push themselves anymore if we're talking about equity? If all outcomes are going to be controlled from now on through the government or agencies, why try? What is there to incentivize anyone? And it's, in the end, assuming you could force that on people, it's a form of soft bigotry. That you're claiming that as an authority, you need to step in and make sure that everything for each person comes out equitably, because you're suggesting that each one of these individuals doesn't have the capacity to do that on their own. And that actually goes against all laws of nature. That kills the human spirit. And that is the lie of equity when you're trying to use it to replace equality. So again, I do these segments to try to point out what is happening in culture right now, what the masses or social media or any form of media or literature or anything you may hear or see, how they're trying to reshape our society. And the way, like I've said, that you reshape culture and society, it's by changing the meaning of words. And this is something I'm going to continue to push back on, that we all need to strive and believe in equality for each other, but the equity of equal outcomes to absolutely everyone. That means tyranny. That doesn't mean freedom. And everyone, I don't care what political affiliation that you have, what your skin color is, what you believe in, who you worship, everyone should be on board for the idea of equality. as opposed to equity. So that's all I have tonight. You know, words matter, and I wanted to share that with you. Like I said, I am going to continue to do these small segments and post them. I would love to hear your comments. Please comment, share, like, follow. Like I've mentioned, you can find Restoring Main Street on Rumble, YouTube, BitChute. I have a Getter account right now, GETTR. So I will post things there as well. Gab TV. I have a Restoring Main Street Gab page that you can find as well, where I'll post material there as well, along with MeWe. I have an Instagram account. I have a Twitter account, Restoring Main Street Podcast. All of those places, you can find the content here from Restoring Main Street, and I would greatly appreciate your support. And honestly, I would, if you're going to watch videos, I would prefer if you would consider this that you would go to Rumble or Gab TV to watch my content as opposed to YouTube. Because at some point I'm going to hit a nerve with YouTube and they are going to start to throttle me, or I'm going to end up with a strike. And the same reason that I post links to my Facebook page to each one of these videos as opposed to doing a Facebook live recording. Because Facebook is another one, along with YouTube and Twitter, that believe in censorship. So I would prefer that you would consider supporting those platforms, Rumble, BitChute, Gab TV, MeWe, as opposed to ones that look to censor. Because freedom of speech is one of the most important things that we are guaranteed in the Constitution, and we need to fight for that. Okay. As always, I will leave you with this: God, freedom, and family. Because if we lose the first two, our families are definitely doomed. Thank you for your time, and God bless.